Now, Argentina took action today amid its fiscal crisis. President Mauricio Macri said he will impose taxes on exporters to boost much-needed revenue after the peso continued its collapse last week and investor concern grew about the government's ability to finance itself. Joining us now from Buenos Aires to discuss the moves of Bloomberg's Carolina Millan. Carolina, just outline really what the headline focus has been and indeed what actions have been the most market reactive.
Yeah. The key thing here is that government officials took to making presentations and making a more concerted effort at outlining what will be their efforts to decrease the fiscal deficit. In fact, they said today that they will seek to bring the primary fiscal deficit to zero in 2019. That's 1 year earlier from what was previously agreed with the IMF, which was in 2020. That's supposed to bring confidence to markets that were still concerned that a weakening peso was going to raise complications for the country's financing needs in the next year. So the use of these export taxes, while it may prove to be unpopular with the agribusiness sector, should help boost revenues for the country.
Yet still the peso continues to fall today, down by 0.8%. There was talk that the IMF might be able to give its next disbursement in the next few days. Is there any sort of stability to come in terms of those people on the street as well as for those in the markets?
Yeah. Well, today we are seeing the peso trade with low liquidity, and it will sell tomorrow given the market holiday in the U.S. So definitely the market will be watching to see tomorrow's price as a clear reflection on the currency. But on the other hand, what we do see is that analysts are now starting to say that Argentine assets are cheap and that the peso may have overshot a bit with its weakening last week, but that may find stabilization near these levels. So it's very possible that they will remain at these levels and that we may see a stronger market reaction on assets like the peso and bonds tomorrow.
Carolina, what's it like for you and for those that are working there at the moment when you have such high inflation, when you have such a weakening in the currency? How does one live day to day? It's
having impact on all sorts on the entire economic chain. From one hand, you have small and large businesses who don't know what exchange rates to use if they need to import or export goods. They're trying to figure out how to start the month with an unstable exchange rate. Same goes for Argentines who are planning trips or who are looking to go abroad, who now find that their purchasing power has fallen dramatically. Overall, what we do find is that the exchange rate is the main topic of conversation among families, friends, people. It's the one thing that people want to talk about and want to try to understand. And so that's why these kinds of government messages today hopefully will bring more stability, because both investors and people at large are looking for more answers about where the economy is headed.
And Carolina, Macri himself said that some of the moves in the Argentinian peso have been exacerbated by that of the Brazilian real and the Turkish lira. How much do you think people buy the fact that it's not all of Argentina's own making? And how much longer does Macri have? Because he promised stability when he came to power 3 years ago.
Certainly, it's been a tough year for emerging markets as a whole. We've seen it just in August with the battered Turkish lira and the Brazilian real. So there is an understanding that Argentina, when it returned to global markets, that also meant moving with some of these global trends. But at the same time, the discrepancies and the distortions that remained in Argentina's economy with its high public spending and runaway inflation have remained, and so people understand that it's a mix of both. Certainly, they'll be looking to the end of year, which can be a tricky time in the country, to see how much public support Macri continues to have.
Carolina Millan, wonderfully put. We thank you live from Argentina for us. Bloomberg's Carolina Millan.